Coincidentally, and slightly related, some of my favorite last words are actually by Che Guevara. The "Shoot, coward, you're only killing a man."
Oh, yeah? Good. Personally, I'm more fond of Simon Bolivar's last words.
Ah!
Which I'm sure you would know.
I don't, sadly.
I believe they are in John Green's Looking for Alaska.
Oh, man. Hang on, let me think.
Think about it. Think about it. If I tell you the word labyrinth, does that help?
Oh. How will I ever escape this labyrinth? Right? No. No. Help me.
I believe so. To be honest, I don't remember the exact wording. Should look it up.
I'm Googling it now.
Google.
Damn it. How will I ever get out of this labyrinth? Aha.
Yes, that's the one.
Oh. And some people say his last words were, "Fetch the luggage, they do not want us here."
Yikes. Yikes. Buddy. I mean, you died, so it was okay. They probably just got rid of the luggage anyway.
Not nearly as...
Oh, Director Krennic again.
Oh, man. It's not nearly as bad as John Sedgwick's last words.
Oh, yeah?
Which were, they couldn't hit an elephant at this
Oh, right. Gotta love the Civil War.
Yep.
Lots of great last words from people in the Civil War, as I recall.
I wonder what my last words will be. Sad reacts only.
Sad react only. Honestly, if those were my last words, I would die fairly happy. And people would just be like, what does it mean? And they'll be like, were you not around in 2016?
For the Great Meme Wars?
Like, the Great Meme War. The fall of post-aesthetics and the rise of something awful.
Oh, God.
Oh! Thermal detonator. God damn it. Star Wars Battlefront is both a not hard game and also a hard game, which is it's always interesting. I've had really good days and really bad days.
I am terrible at games that involve me shooting something.
That's ironic.
I know, right? But I mean, even though I'm in the military, the technical term is public health technician, but I personally prefer the term tactical condom distribution specialist.
Ah, yes. The ever essential role. Gotta protect the military up above and down below.
Very true. Oh, man. Okay, Tim. Doing me a heckin' big concern. So what were your thoughts on Rogue One?
To be honest, I didn't really like most of it. I thought it was okay at best.
Yes.
I thought that the ending sequence is probably what saved it,
Mhm.
if only because it was like very well executed action, but like I was kind of bored and lost for the first 90 minutes.
I'll have to agree with you there. I get a lot of hate for having that point of view, but like the example I always cite. Oh, here's Tim. About time.
Oh, hello, Tim.
So the example I always cite is when Jin, if that's her name, I also can't remember any of their names. Like, I feel terrible.
Yeah, that's a pretty common thing that I've heard, interestingly enough. Most people don't remember any of the ensemble except for Jin Urso.
Yeah, they blend into the background. But Jin, during her rousing speech, which comes like 5 minutes after saying that she's not interested in helping the rebellion, that they're essentially as bad as the Empire.
Lol, false equivalency.
She starts out the speech, and literally no one else is talking, but you can hear the background actors pipe up, "Let her speak."
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, but no one's talking.
Honestly, the one thing about that scene that annoyed me the most is the one, like, weird... I don't remember if he was Irish or Scottish guy who was supposed to be, like, her main opponent in the room.
Yeah.
He was just an awful actor. Like...
Yes!
It was just, like... I was so taken out of the moment because I was like, dude, are you just, like... Were you part of, like, the I don't know, the background crew that they brought in and just, like, alright, just be angry at this actress for 5 seconds, alright? We'll put a beard on you, it'll be cool. Because I don't know.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. Everyone in space is also from the UK.
Yeah.
Because of their casting, which is, I think, really funny.
Like, that happens a lot, though. Like, literally everyone from, like, any country that isn't America is voiced by an English or an Irish or a Scottish actor. World War II movies, all the Germans are English.
It's true,
weird.
Yeah. It's always fun.
It's like, I mean, I knew the whole appeasement policy they had going on, but I didn't know they were going that far. Jeez.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness. All right, Tim. So, we're just getting spun up right now. Michael is also presently playing Battlefront, the newest edition, I think.
Yes, that is correct.
And it may or may not be getting wrecked.
I'm doing a little better now that we're not on Hoth. I'm on Endor now, and it's, like, slightly better. Except the Empire just got one of their heroes villains? I don't know.
Ooh.
And his name is Bosk. He's like one of the bounty hunters that shows up for like 30 seconds on screen in episode 5. He's a big lizard
I remember
dude.
Bosk.
Yeah.
The big lizard dude with the teeth. Yes.
That's right. And they've fleshed him out considerably in this game, and now he's just like a giant awful lizard that like shoots millions of grenades and breathes poison gas. It's pretty horrifying. But in any case, you know, and after this, as I said, I'll be going to a confirmation for a kid that I used to tutor in elementary school. My mother is actually his godmother. This will be the third child that she is the godmother of from this particular group, which is interesting. But, you know.
Goodness. Why isn't she my godmother?
I guess we just didn't know each other soon enough. Gosh, I can't speak English today.
Which actually brings us to the point of this episode. So yes, what we're trying to do here is introductions, not only of ourselves, but also how we kind of met in life, which is basically through one common strain, and where we went from there. Oh
yes. This is just going to be a big ad for one particular non-profit, secretly.
Oh yes.
Should
we just not name it the whole time and just say this organization that we all were part of?
Oh, that would be kind of funny. I mean, I suppose we could circle our way around it, you know.
Oh, you also have a campaign poster. No, I mean we kind of are, but this is still like the hype session.
We can bleep it out. It's fine.
We're getting there. Oh god, yes. We will need to get the bleeps going, because I have, as I already said, I want to keep this somewhat family friendly, so I'm going to try to couch the amount of swearing that I usually do, but for the inevitable times that something slips out, I will have a beep. In post-production, at least.
Mm-hmm. Or you just scream, beep! Probably slightly less effective, but you know. Beep!
See how that goes. I'll know where to.
I'll just have to watch your mouth, you know.
I'll look for it in post. The little spike is like, oh yeah, he definitely screamed it in the microphone at this point, or he was laughing.
Pretty much.
Oh, it's gonna make
Beep!
it hard.
Oh yes. What a time.
To be alive.
Also, it's like surprisingly hot in this room. I've realized that it's because of the desktop computer that I'm using. Like, and just because it's poorly ventilated, like it'll either be really cold or really hot.
Ugh.
So it's also too cold to like open my window. I mean, I guess I
Yeah.
could do it for a little bit, but like it's not worth it.
No. So Tim, you've been quiet. What's going on your end?
The reason, dear listeners, why Tim is so quiet is because he is actually, he forgot to hit record. So this long blank space has been filled by me.
Ah, how did that go?
We're assuming it went well, but I mean, I really can't remember what Tim was saying right now.
Brilliant. Now, for potential listeners and for myself, because I have no idea who Charles Murray is, forgive me, enlighten us.
Oh, that's right. So, dear Tim was at a talk by this fellow, Mr. Charles Murray, and he was regaling us with fabulous tales of how the talk went, and there was some controversy, and Michael chimes in here pretty soon about that said controversy.
Yes. It's specifically a single chapter that connected what I believe it was like IQ with genetic makeup, and like kind of danced around some really eugenics-y kind of controversial language that even the people that liked the rest of the book, like there was a National Review review of it that I read, and it's just like, yeah, I mean, like, this is largely pretty interesting, except for the fact when he almost kind of advocated for eugenics, or at the very least didn't take a very strong stance against, I don't know. I think it was something about like how the median IQ for African Americans was like 10 to 15 standard deviations, or 10 to 15 points, and that was like a standard deviation below like whites or Asians or something, and basically it was interpreted by a lot of white supremacist groups as like a white supremacy kind of validation method, and that has been the source of a lot of problems. And that's largely what I saw Middlebury talking about. I mean, the protest itself was interesting, to say the least. I think that's the best way to put it, especially considering that it's made in... yeah. It definitely got out of control. I don't know. It's been interesting because, especially given that I'm on a fairly liberal campus. I mean, we're not anywhere near as aggressive about this sort of stuff as like Oberlin or Middlebury, but we definitely had a lot of people that were sympathetic to the kind of thing that they were trying to do. And I don't know. It's been interesting that there's a sort of a movement in very, very extreme parts of the left that is starting to question the liberal principles of free speech in ways that make even me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's been interesting to watch, though, if a little unsettling. Yeah, I've heard that term, and, like, I think the problem is that, like, I don't totally buy it, if only because a lot of the people that are getting involved in these protests, they're not... I don't know. I don't want to bring Marxism into it, but, like, some of the Marxist theory that has come into certain educational philosophies, which has always been, for the most part, like, always discussed in a not very serious way, at least from what I've seen at Kenyon, but there are a select few that have been integrating it into, I guess, protest-oriented activities without even realizing it, which has been even more interesting. Because, like, if you talked about, you know, like how intersectional feminism is technically something that's derived from Marxist theory. Like if you told your average American that somebody on the liberal side is like trying to talk to you about a Marxist theory, they'd immediately shut down. But if you say intersectional feminism, it comes across as something, you know, more easy to discuss. And like, personally, there are aspects of intersectional feminism that I think are important and that you can't discount. Like, at least in the discussions I've been having, they bring a lot of different arguments that even Charles Murray, in his own interesting way, has been thinking about, just tying class and race together in ways that, you know, expose that kind of bubble mentality, that whether it be just rich Americans or white Americans or rich white Americans living in bubbles, like, the whole demographic disconnect is something that the left is also talking about, just in a very different vocabulary. So I just thought it was, of all people that it could have happened to, that it happened to Charles Murray, at least from what I've read, like some of the more recent stuff he's done. I don't know how you bridge that gap to tell these people that they're kind of talking about the same thing because they hate each other.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's interesting, but I mean, one of the problems, because I've heard that the argument, you know, of like the shift away from like a broader American culture, is one of the problems with that, at least when you're coming at it from like a more leftist perspective, is that, I mean, there was a broader American culture that, like, for better or worse, forcibly assimilated a lot of different cultures into it, while completely dismissing, you know, the identities that they themselves have brought into this country initially. So, like, personally, I'm in favor of some kind of, like, I don't know, I actually just ran across the term the other day, like a civic kind of nationalism, where, you know, we're all living together and forming kind of like a nice, you know, liberal democratic society where we all, like, multiculturalism still plays a role, but, you know, we're all adhering to liberal principles. Like, and I think that's something that maybe somebody like Charles Murray would argue is what happened in the past. But as I was saying, you know, a leftist would argue, like, okay, well, sure, but only to specific groups. And then even then, it only opened up, like, actual liberal society without any restrictions only opened up to, like, African Americans in the last, you know, 70 years or so. So I think when you tell somebody on the left, particularly like an African American, you know, liberal or leftist, that, you know, oh, we should go back to this totally all-inclusive American society of the past, they're going to say, what inclusive society? Exactly. You know, I was not a part of that, and I would not have been a part of that if it wasn't because of, you know, X kind of semi-radical movement or, you know, semi-illiberal kind of protest movement on the edges of society that forced people to move and make progress more quickly, you know? So I think one of the hardest things I've definitely had trouble justifying is, like, the slow progress, you know, because anytime you talk about moderation and civil discourse, you know, you could easily just as easily cycle back to something like, you know, the letter from Birmingham jail where Dr. Martin Luther King talks about, you know, the accidental injustice of the white moderate, you know, by saying, you guys need to go slower, you need to be patient, you know, while ignoring a certain amount of societal oppression that is going on. And so,
yeah,
I don't know, there's no good way to win there.
Of course. And then even in today, we have lawmakers who are causing controversy on such an issue. Have you guys heard about the statement in a tweet, which has become kind of central to our governance lately, as it would seem, by Representative Steve King?
Oh, is this the babies tweet?
Yes. We can't restore our civilization with somebody else's babies.
Steve
Leaning
King.
towards a homogenous culture for the United States. Thoughts?
I mean, I don't know what homogenous culture he wants to return to, but, like, this country was built on other people's babies, quote unquote, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's a country of, like, immigrants, and not just of immigrants, but of immigrant communities who, for better or for worse, shaped the areas in which they settled. So unless you're, as cliched as it may sound, unless you're talking about, like, Native Americans or something, like, being the one race that we're going to allow to propagate again, I don't know what you want to return to, because at that point you're just low-key advocating for white supremacy. Or not even low-key, like
high-key.
High-key. Just problematic on any level.
Yeah. And he later doubled down on it by saying, I'd like to see an America that's just so homogenous that we look a lot like the same from that perspective.
God, Steve King, why?
That's even
like, he's not even
more...
trying at this point.
No. But, yeah. It's a little bit concerning, because... Man, remember this when this was supposed to be about introducing ourselves, and all of a sudden this got into
Well, I think this
politics?
is kind of introducing ourselves in a way. You know, this is what we like to do. This is what we do.
You're right.
Quite frequently.
Yeah. But so it's actually kind of a major milestone, and also somewhat disconcerting that
the first African American writer and director of a film, grossed over, I think it was 100 million. This is the first time this has happened, and it's in relation to. Yep. And it's in relation to a movie about racism, essentially, and a horror movie in that sort of genre of film, which is kind of telling about the times we're living in right now.
Yeah. Have you actually seen Get Out? Because I haven't yet.
I haven't either. I really want to. My supervisor and I have talked about both having not seen it yet, and it's becoming almost a point of contention. Definitely need to watch it. It's on my list.
Yeah.
I've snoozed it on OmniFocus like 12 times now, and
This is where Tim pipes in saying he hasn't heard of the movie at all.
Well, essentially, it's about a African-American man who goes to visit his white girlfriend's parents in an affluent, basically majority white suburb. So think like rich white liberal kind of type community, right? In, I don't know, Connecticut or something, just for an instance. And as I understand it, it takes the elements of, kind of social anxiety and kind of low-key accidental racism or prejudice that would come from such a community that just really isn't exposed to African Americans all that much or at all. And it twists it in kind of like a horror genre kind of way. So like the parents kind of act kind of weird, and all the people in the community act really weird. And, they'll do stuff like, ask to touch his hair and like kind of, say like, oh, what a strong specimen you are. And like, this is the sort of thing that like, an African American would kind of see and be like, okay, well, this is just them trying, even though while they're simultaneously doing all this, they're saying like, I voted for Barack Obama twice. Like, I think it's hip to like hip hop or something. Yeah. And it's just like talking about the awkward kind of conversations and uncomfortable conversations that people from these disparate groups would have. And then, to be honest, I've read about the twist, but I won't give it away here. But like that plays heavily into the horror element of it. I was listening to, ironically, an NPR show that I wanted to apply to intern on, waiting for that code switch, which is all about race and politics in the U.S. And Jordan Key was on there talking about how he wanted to do a horror movie where it allowed a white audience to kind of sympathize with a black character, because the tropes of the horror genre are like, okay, well, character X will think that something's wrong, but shrug it off is like, it's something that's easily shrug-offable, but like it's also secretly insidious. And that's kind of like a fear that an African American could have going into one of these communities, that maybe people behave in a certain way, but like secretly they're all still harboring a certain amount of prejudice.
Of course.
And yeah, so kind of goes along those themes. But yeah, I am probably going to try and see it this weekend with some friends at Kenyon. We'll have to see.
Very nice.
Get Out. Yes.
We'll have a link in the show notes to the IMDb page for it.
Yes. Yeah, it's got like almost 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's been getting rave reviews, and it's actually slight kind of correction to the fact it's not the first African American director to get over 100 million. It's writer-director, yes. Yeah. Yes. Because the first African American director was somebody whose name I forgot, who did the SWAT movie in 2003, which I had seen in like the bargain bin in somewhere before. I don't know. But like definitely, I don't know. It's really interesting for me anyway, because Jordan Key he's mixed race as well. And so a lot of the stuff that he touches on in terms of, in his own comedy elsewhere, about like blending between different communities is stuff that like I've struggled with as well. So it's always a welcome opportunity to see some of his work.
Definitely. Is it Jordan Key? Is it Jordan Peele?
Is it Jordan Peele? I don't know.
I'm gonna check.
Oh
this.
yeah, Michael. Is it Michael Key Peele? I always mix them up. I feel really bad because I never learned which was Key or Peele for a long time. Because they were always in character. Is it Jordan Peele? Wow. I've been fooling all of you for 20 minutes now. I'm sorry.
we're just gonna go back through and we're gonna insert Peel every time you said key. This is gonna be. We'll fix it in
All right.
post. We'll fix it in
All right.
post.
I'm good with that.
Oh. Oh wow. Should we say what our names are at some point?
Oh! Names.
Okay, let's try this. Okay, so my name is Dylan Vickers with the Masthead Podcast, and I'm joined by my friends Michael Lahanas
Hello.
and Tim Coker.
Tim wasn't recording, so just imagine him saying hi.
We'll fix this in post.
Yeah, we'll add this to the beginning. It'll be fine.
It'll be beautiful. Oh my goodness. We're killing it. We're killing the game, guys.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Good thing they won't be able to see us.
that'll be beautiful. Even though this is all getting uploaded to YouTube, there will be no screen cap, just the vocals. Ideally,
Excellent.
when we have a operable logo.
Working on it. I have to remember how to do vector graphics. It'll be fine.
I have faith in you. I'm looking at that very beautifully designed Michael Lahanas for ORV Governor sign in the back.
Aw. We'll just say, God, I'm trying to think of another equivalent organization.
Modern
There aren't
UN.
really many. Yeah. Hashtag be the people.
Hashtag
Excuse me.
Bet he
Oh
people.
God. I actually, I remember I used to get so mad at Model UN people because I was like, you're stealing my members. But there was nothing I could do because Model UN was cooler at some schools.
Ugh.
It's
Did
fine.
Scioto even have a Model UN chapter? I honestly don't remember. No. No. It was just us. It was just the evil social studies club. Oh God, yes, with Mr. Schaefer, and he kept trying to steal our students. It's been too long. God.
Mm.
It's 2017, guys. I'm too old for this.
But be careful. We don't want this podcast to be reminiscing about high school.
Yes,
for
no, let's
half
avoid
an
that.
hour.
Let's avoid that very strongly. There's a lot of regret. There's a lot of stuff I don't want to remember. Let's keep it at that.
Ah! Yeah, I remember just whenever it comes up at Kenyon, like I'll talk about it for maybe 15 seconds and I'll just be like, yeah, so like I had a couple, there were a few mistakes, an arch nemesis or two, accidental secret society, whatever. It's
Oh
fun.
God. Oh God.
I don't know if I would call it fun. I would call it probably one of the most stressful periods of my life. But, I made it through and I came out a better person, I like to think.
This is true. I think we all did. Even though we all definitely met in the high school formative years, and we all kind of still are sticking around each other. So sometimes those bonds happen. It's a
right.
thing.
Be nice to your friends in high school.
Yeah, don't
Beep, beep!
hole. We're gonna need to bleep that out.
Yeah. And, are you guys ever, do you think you're gonna go to high school reunions? Because, like, honestly, at this stage, I feel like it's a hard no. I don't want to revisit that. Like, it'll just be super weird.
See, I kind of want to, because A, I'm hot now, and B, and B,
That's what it's all about, really. It's about the vanity.
exactly, and B, I want to see how everyone else messed up their lives.
There's a movie that I really like. Oh God, there's a movie that I really like that it centers around a guy going back to his high school reunion, and the quote that I'll always remember is that, when they first walk in, him and this other character, the other character's just like, it's almost as if everyone is just swelled. And I'm thinking to myself, that's probably going to be the case for mine as well. But we'll have to see.
On the topic of high school reunions, Tim chimes in here mentioning that we'll be too short of our next high school reunion due to 2 deaths we've had very recently. Members of our graduating class. Yeah.
I don't think I've had anybody from my high school class suffer a similar fate yet that I'm aware of. Though, disturbingly, there was a kid who got arrested for, God, what was it? He was approaching children on a playground.
Oh, wow.
And it was exactly as bad as you might imagine for somebody doing that, and said something to the effect of a child along the lines of, like, if you don't do this horrible thing for me, I'm going to force you to, like, gargle nails or something.
Oh, God.
And so he got arrested, and now he's in jail. And that is the first thing I've heard of anybody from my high school class getting famous. So
There are so many better ways.
Off
Just
to a
start
great start.
podcast. Just start a podcast.
hey, I already started a podcast. You know, this is my second one. You got to remember
This is
that,
true.
Dylan.
This is why I went to Michael, because he also runs the Dickerson Mystery Hour.
That's correct. You should
Kenyon.
listen. Go to dickersonpi.wordpress.com or soundcloud.com/dickdickersonpi. It's a No, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
There will also be a link in the show notes.
Ah, yes, of course. But I'm sorry. I've got a shill for this. You know, it's my baby. But basically, it's a noir dramedy kind of deal, and the premise for season 1 was that you had it was a college freshman who thought he was a noir detective, and just like ruined everyone's lives, because, you know, he would go around like solving cases when in reality he was just like screwing up everything and like destroying people's relationships and, you know, accidentally harassing everyone. And then I won't give away how the rest of it goes. You'll just have to go listen. But the second season is kind of the reverse of that. He's stuck in the 1930s now, and like he's the non-noir person and everyone around him is noir, but it's like, is it a dream? Is it like the afterlife? We don't really know, because he gets hits. It's like he's this is all based on Kenyon College. It's Canyon College, the location. And his method of getting back to this period of time is, I believe we have him get hit by an Amish carriage in the middle of a thunderstorm, which is probably the most Kenyon way to time travel possible, just because of the variety of Amish folks that are always around.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's fun. We have a bunch of Kenyan musicians that do music, and all of the people in the drama department, you know, they'll contribute voices on occasion, and it's a jolly good time, you know. But not nearly as fun as this.
Oh. But yes, if that piqued your interest, definitely go check out the link in the show notes. Get excited.
The doobly-doo.
It's gonna be great. It's season 1 is an absolute head spinner. I still haven't gotten to season 2 yet. I'm so sorry, Michael. I've been busy.
Well, hey, you know, I'll be sure to harass you with the link after this. Don't worry.
Fantastic.
What?
Who are we? Oh, maybe I should talk, because I'm the one starting this thing. Gross. Okay.
Yeah, talk.
Alright, so my name is Dylan, and do I want to include my last name? No, I don't. Oh, I already have. My name's Dylan Vickers, and I met these two fine gentlemen in our formative high school years, and since then, our paths have kind of diverged a bit. Tim is currently attending Patrick Henry College in Percyville, Virginia. Michael, as he mentioned, is attending Kenyon College in Kenyon, Ohio. Kenyon, is it?
Gambier, Ohio.
Gambier, that's what it is.
No, Gambier.
And I, the odd man out, and currently enlisted in the United States Air Force. But I had a little bit of free time on my hands, because I do work a 9-to-5 job, as most people would imagine. I work as a public health technician. But I had a little bit of free time, and I've been listening to a lot of CGP Grey and Mike Hurley, and Mike Hurley's whole network of podcasts through Relay FM. Link in the show notes. But I kind of wanted to start this out as an experiment for myself to kind of broaden my horizons. And I don't know, radio's always kind of interested me, so we'll see how this goes. Let's set a bar right now. Let's set a 10-episode demo. See how we like this. try and at least make it to 10. If that works and we like it, we keep going. If not, let it just crash and burn. But until then, we're happy to have you, dear listeners, along for the ride.
Oh, yes. And what a wild ride it will be. Get to learn a lot about us.
As Michael flips his hair and adjusts his tie.
That's right.
To add effect.
Gotta get ready. You can't see it, but I'm just getting ready. You know, I gotta be on my best appearance.
It makes the sound come across clear.
And here Tim asks why Michael is so fancy.
No, I'm going
It's
to a
the
confirmation in about
confirmation!
half an hour.
The
Yeah.
confirmation, Tim.
Yeah, my mother is the godmother of a child that we used to tutor / our family friends with their family now, and so I'm coming along because I'm like, it's weird because I'm kind of like a big brother, I guess, to them, which, I mean, as an only child, it was just very weird to hear that being said. Like, the mom was like, oh yeah, you're basically the big brother now, and I was like, what? Okay. But yeah, it's been interesting, I'll say that. Not a bad experience, just a different one. But yeah, that's why I'm dressed up.
Here's where Tim was confused or trying to remember the name of what Catholic ritual he went to beforehand, whether or not it was a confirmation where someone was becoming Catholic.
First communion?
Baptism?
Oh.
First Holy Communion? I had adult confirmation. Well, kind of. But... kind of. See, I feel so bad, because I'm, like, sending all my love and support to Michael's god brother, but I just gave up God for Lent, so I'm, like, the worst Catholic ever. This is the first time I haven't broken my Lent in so long, guys. It's ridiculous. I've had no trouble.
Well, I suppose it was only a matter of time. I remember there was a stack of books that my mother had gotten from the church once, and at the top of it was like, interestingly, it was by Cardinal Raymond Burke, who I've seen his name pop up a couple of times as like arch-conservative anti-Papa Francis or whatever, right? And it's just like, oh, okay. And then on the inside, there was a little flyer. Actually, it was talking about how relativism, it was like the dictatorship of relativism or something, and I was like, oh no. But that aside, on the inside, there was a little flyer that said, did you know that lapsed Catholic is the fastest growing religion in the United States? Don't let your child be the next one. I was just like, oh dear.
Oh.
So, we'll have to see.
Lapsed Catholic. That's what you should have been calling me all those years, Tim, because Tim, how we first met, he always called me a bad Catholic since I was in high school. That was practically my call sign.
And here's where Tim corrects me, because when we first met in news writing class, he didn't know what my preferred religion was, so that was not the basis of our introduction.
That's right. Yep. Back in the day with Mrs. Leahy. Oh boy. The best of times, the worst of times, the incredible social awkwardness. But that's how I was introduced to not only you, but JSA, kind of. Because I was... oh, wow. We'll have to bleep it. No, you know what?
Beep, beep!
Let's just talk about it. We will have to bleep that, though.
Oh, no.
So... we don't have the time. But I remember it was the first week I was in school, and I was coming from this weird, like, online homeschool thing to brick and mortar. And I did surprisingly well, but there was this kid in my journalism class who I couldn't remember who it was until I re-met him, like, the next day. But he gave me this flyer. It was like, hey, I really liked what you were talking about in journalism today. You should check out this club. And it said Junior State of America on it. And I was like, oh, what the heck is this? So I brought it home and showed it to my mom. And I was like, hey, Mom, look, people think I'm cool for being interested in politics. And she was like, that's cool, honey. I'm going to go take a nap. And I was like, okay, Mom, bye. That's how that conversation went. But that's how I met Tim Coker. Was in journalism over a flyer for this unnamed organization called JSA. Justice, Service, and Administration. I don't know.
Or it was always like we'd be either the Jewish Society of America or like
Oh,
God, I
the
don't
one
even
we'll
know.
have. See, I remember. Oh God, this is just bleep this whole thing. But
Beep beep.
like.
Yep, I remember hearing that one as well. Or just the Gay Straight Alliance, because they'd be like, GSA? Like, I mean, kind of, I guess.
A bit, yeah, something along that line. For some of us. And here's where Tim kind of makes an awkward comment about some people. No. Don't go there. Oh. We said we weren't gonna relive high school. Let's not do this to ourselves.
We've got standards, it's fine.
But yes, so...
Yeah.
No! Oh God. He probably won't
Well, it
listen
already
to this
happened.
anyway.
Actually, as long as we're doing this, I just think it's really funny that somebody who I was sort of rivals with in this organization is once again at the heart of a controversial campaign at Ohio State University.
Oh dear.
Interestingly, because of its connections to a conservative organization, it was like funding undergrad campaigns across the United States for some reason. I don't know why. Like,
Oh God.
it just it was all so dumb from like every possible angle. So I don't know, but I just thought it was really amusing.
Oh God.
Anyways,
sidetracking from that, so I'll only briefly touch on this. This is the organization, I think I've mentioned this already, that I also met Michael. We actually, it was on a campaign trip when I was managing our other friend Winston's gubernatorial campaign. And it was a fact-finding mission to see whether or not we could sway the delegates from Michael's high school to our side in the campaign, and whether or not we could sway Michael as a member of our campaign staff. And I was mostly just there because it was about mustaches, and I thought mustaches were brilliant. And there was also going to be some conversation, a talk by the mayor, Dick Church, and I think he has a fantastic
Dick
name.
Church.
So I wanted to come.
gotta love Dick.
Dick's pretty great.
Richard
Yes.
Church has been dutifully serving our city for many, many years, and actually is in his last term. He won re-election narrowly. Well, not narrowly, I guess by a decent margin, but narrowly by previous standards because somebody actually ran against him. A young Tea Party city councilwoman who just really wanted to get her name out there.
God.
And everyone was just like, stop. Just let him run unopposed. Like, he just wants one more term. Like, he just wants to be here for the centennial of the city. Or, excuse me, the bicentennial of the city. So just, like, chill. She ran anyway, obviously. But he won, and he will be riding out his last term during the 200th anniversary of our city, coming in 2 years, I believe? 2018 or maybe 2019. I don't recall.
God bless Dick Church.
True statesman. True
A
statesman.
true statesman. All right. Well, it is quickly approaching the time where Michael has to depart, and I have other obligations I have to see to this evening, so I think this is where we're going to have to cut it short, fellas.
Fair enough.
Alrighty.
Well, this has been fun.
It has been. I look forward to doing it again and dealing with everything that was wrong in post.